Ah. Hello. Hi. Let's. It is the end of the month, and once again, I haven't made a video yet, but it's coming out on Thursday, 100% guaranteed. That's like it's basically it's coming out. Hi, it's the end of the month hangout. There's no rules. Outback Monster Factory. It's not Monster Factory. Hi. Say it back. I am today drinking because it was my birthday 2 days ago, so I still have some leftover snacks. I am drinking påskmust, which is a Swedish drink served at Easter, påsk, and at Christmas, jul. So we have julmust, and it's like Coke, but like a bit different. It's really hard to explain how. They have it at IKEA, so if you live near an IKEA, I suggest you try it. It's one of those things that you either really like or really don't. How are audio levels? Gravy, it's not gravy. Happy belated birthday, thank you. What's 2 days ago? I am now old. Mukbang, mukbang, mukbang. What's in it? Some weird. I don't know what's in it. It's like soda. Yeah, it's like a soda, just a different flavor. But it will be slightly mukbang at last, like you have asked for, because I do have some leftover birthday cake. So I'm going to just unhook that. There we go. So this is a bit of chocolate cake that has like a really strong smell of like liquor. I don't know what's in this. And I know it's against like YouTube TOS to like drink alcohol on stream. If you show it, I don't think you're allowed to like show the label or something like that. But like this is a cake. I'm allowed to show the cake. It's a cake. I'm fine. If you're new to the format, to these hangouts, the basic format is, I should probably do a bit of a rule check. So the format is that there's no rules. I can do whatever I want. It's just a stream where we hang out for roughly an hour. We take it cool. We take it easy. We just hang out. I answer questions. You know, we have fun. Last month there wasn't a hangout. So this is actually the first hangout in 2 months, and the reason for it there weren't a hangout last month is because I got sick with COVID. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, that's what's been happening. I've posted some updates about it on my Patreon, on Twitter, stuff like that, but I haven't really been that much. It's also the reason why a video haven't been out for a long time, because I've been like dead sick, but I'm better now, which is why I've been working on video, and which is why I'm glad to report I'm finally actually gonna be back to work. I've been back to work for like a week, but on Thursday you'll see the result of my amazing work. But now let's try some cake. Delicious. Oh god. Oh, this doesn't work at all with the cake. Oh, this is disgusting. It's like a soda, but like this. Oh, this is like a red wine soda. This is like a red wine cake. This is not like a soda cake. Oh. But yeah, I'm back to work. Everything's good. I had to deal with 19 crows. Yeah, I had to fight them all off. It took a month. They besieged me, but thankfully it all worked out. And I was joking around a few days ago that like, oh well, you know, that means I'm immune, and then I found out that maybe it doesn't make you immune. Maybe it just means that you had it, and maybe you can have it again. Which, I don't know. We live in a hell dimension. Postgres isn't thing like Guild missed. IKEA should just sponsor you for how often I mention them. They really should. I think they should. Give me free furniture, IKEA, please. I go to IKEA way too often. I live close to an IKEA, which means like whenever I just need like anything, I can just go to IKEA. Which sucks, because IKEA is like not a good company, really. Like they have poorly like sourced raw materials and treat their employees like shit. But they also have basically everything that I need for once. So the answer to this, yeah, I know the answer to this, but do you ever plan on releasing anything in Swedish? I have some scenes actually in the video coming on Thursday that will feature Swedish, but it won't like be a video in Swedish. It will be, some scenes will have Swedish in them, but it won't like be like a thing. It'll just be a little slightly more enjoyable for people who are Swedish, I guess, who understand Swedish. It'll also be fun because people can hear my Swedish voice, which is a bit different than my voice in English. I want to go into scaremonger mode, but articles that COVID has only permanent lung damage. Get that checked when the crisis is at lower levels. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get the full body examination thing once I'm better. Well, once the world is better, because I'm better already. Because I got pretty sick there for a while, like pretty badly. Dubbed in Swedish. Oh my god, what if I have like, what if it's not my voice? What if I have like someone else do the Swedish voice and just dub it over mine so you'll never know my Swedish voice? Not that hard. I doubt I'll understand anything you say. Maybe, we'll see. Like, I'll have subtitles. Good lighting. It is good lighting. I'm very happy about this, actually. I think it's pretty good. Like, it took a while, but I think I've set up something that kind of works. I think this works. I'm pink. I can and I can change it. Hang on. I can change it. Smart lamp. Wait. If my smartphones will work. Oh no, it has. Don't download an update for my lamp. There we go. No. It's not as strong as I thought. This is supposed to be red, and this is supposed to be blue. I mean, I guess it works. Let's keep it purple. I have some lamps in the background that I think are also like fucking with the general lighting. My new Twitter Evie is beautiful. Thank you. It's an old modeling photograph that I did for. I don't remember what I think it was like an ad/art campaign for some feminist organization talking about like all different types of women, and then I was there as the trans woman. I'm gonna have some more cake because I'm in a cake mood. Also, I'm hungry as hell, and I have a lot of cake. How is everyone though? How is how are people dealing with like the world as it is? I want to hear all the attempt Swedish. We'll see. Maybe one day I can trick him into speaking Swedish. Okay. The reason I cough like almost every single time I drink something, I straight up think, because I had a few years ago, I had like a tracheal shave, where they kind of like cut off a bit of your Adam's apple and just shave it down. Years ago, and I think that kind of fucked up something with my like throat muscles, because every time I drink something, it's like a 1 in 3 chance that I'll just like and just get it in the wrong pipe. Oh hey Ollie, do you want to speak Swedish in my next video? I can fit you in there somewhere speaking Swedish. I won't give you a guide on how to do it. We're dealing with it by getting laid. Sex isn't real. Not now. What we do now is we yearn. Sex is out. In 2020, sex out, yearning in. Work from 4 a.m. to 3 p.m. Oof. Gotta be, oh damn. I hope you get some legal support on that one. Live in Vietnam, it's going fairly well. A couple of days with no cases and our restriction being relaxed. I heard Vietnam is like doing great with the virus. Mostly bored if I like quit my shitty medication, so I'm overall okay. We stand upgrading either from bad medication to no medication, or from whatever you need. Like you have upgrading, getting better, improvement in terms of medicine. I used to be on antidepressants for a long time, and I just felt awful the entire time. And they kept changing them to try to make me feel better. And then one day I just stopped, and then I felt good. That's not to say that like you should do that. All I'm saying is like every mind is unique, and you should you know, every mind is unique, and every mind needs something else. And I'm happy that I'm happy for improvement. Mind be very talkative, goes and simultaneously playing Red Alert 2. Yeah, that's fine. Kick Yuri's ass. Or whatever you're doing. No deaths at all under 300 cases for a population of 100 million. Sounds very good. It's almost like there are ways to dealing with this crisis in the early stages that are good ways, and then there are ways that are bad ways. So, has there been anything in the news? So, when I went to bed last night, literally everyone was talking about North Korea. So I'm just waiting for just like chaotic take energy on Twitter, whatever is going to happen. So if you haven't heard, according to rumors, which might or might not be true, because we hear all sorts of shit out of North Korea. And it's especially interesting when like CNN is like, we're awaiting word from the State Department. It's like, okay. But according to rumors, Kim Jong-un, leader of North Korea, is dead. And they're in the process of like selecting a leader. No matter what happens, even if he's still alive and everything's fine, it's gonna be like nuclear hell on Twitter, and I can't wait. I really need to make a video on North Korea one day. It's a fascinating country. Bought Mario Kart as a treat. In times like this, we should allow ourselves to treat ourselves if we can, you know, afford to and everything like that, obviously. But like, if you can, treat yourself and treat your neighbor if you can. Be kind. Cook food to your friends and shit. I don't know. I bought Workers and Resources Soviet Republic as a treat for myself. So that's what I did during the lockdown. Yeah. Finnish government has handled things in a way that has inspired trust in me. That's good. That's great. Must be nice. The Swedish government has handled things in a way that does not inspire trust in me. I usually trust the Swedish government, like, on some things, but like, but it's not really like the government's fault, really. Like, we have a weird, like, decentralized health system that they're basically like a branch of the government, kind of, because the National Health Authority has like executive power and can oversee the government on a lot of things. So they're the ones who's actually doing shit, but so it's not really the government. Which is good, because that means politicians aren't making health decisions in a time of crisis. But it also means that if they are like overconfident in the country's abilities to handle the crisis, then like, yeah, our hospitals aren't being overrun, but also people are dying here on a higher rate than other countries, so time for Empress Azula. North Korea is awful and fascinating at the same time. It is. If there was a way to like ethically go there without like giving money to the regime, because that's what people do when they like go to touristing, right? It's not, you know, obviously it's like tourist money, it's not that much money, but it's still like you're giving money to the regime, which isn't great, to say the least. If there was a way to like ethically go there without supporting the regime at all, I would love to. Just from an historical perspective and political perspective, it is a fascinating country. Don't think I'd be super safe there, but you know, you never know. It's just interesting historically and politically. It just sucks that like that interest comes from, that the situation comes from the not great political climate. UK has been great, no issues, none. Yeah, I heard the UK is like doing fine. Netherlands doing okay. Yeah, I heard so okay-ish, yeah. Korea has a girl boss. I really want to do a video one day like about feminism and authoritarianism, which is what like it's gonna be whatever the video title is gonna end up being. It's gonna be one of like a nuclear bomb. But I want to make one where people talk like Thatcher, the North Korean woman potentially, the dictator in Bolivia, where people like excuse authoritarian behavior because of their misogynistic ideas about women, thinking that women can't be authoritarian. So therefore the dictatorship is kind of okay. So like people talk about Bolivia, their dictator, and it's like, well, it's not a real dictator. I was like, no, she pretty much is. And I think it would be interesting to talk about like how individual certain women can kind of subvert the patriarchal ideas about womanhood around them for their own beneficial gain. It's just interesting. There's direct passenger trains from Moscow to Pyongyang. Ooh, I didn't know that. Damn, Moscow. Just donate to the regime without going. Well, I want to go there. That's the thing. Oh, is it King's Day tomorrow? Of course it is. It's King's Day. I'm so used to it being Queen's Day, but it's King's Day now, of course. Koningendag. Yeah, so happy Koningendag, I guess. Also, monarchies suck. Just generally. Speaking of it, absolutely nothing at all. Bolt Cutter's article. Yeah. Sneaking into North Korea is something that I'm not really into. It's not really on my bucket list. Institution of neoliberalism under Pinochet and Thatcher weren't too far apart. People really need to read up on Pinochet. Like, you're right. In terms of political violence. Yeah, like Pinochet, when people acknowledge the horrors of Pinochet, people often like really either oversell it or undersell it, where they will either say that like, oh, Pinochet wasn't a dictator, it's fine, or they will like oversell it, being like, oh, it's so far removed from what it's supposed to be, so it doesn't count as like actual neoliberal economy and political control, because that's just straight up fascism. It's like, yes, but like, do you not see how the connection is there? I don't know. Do you think you can ever get over the gender dysphoria one experienced for so long? I mean, I started my transition in 2012, and I've basically done everything that I want to do, and that I can do. Not everything, but I'm pretty close. And I mean, I get dysphoric all the time. Like, I think it's possible to like somehow go to enough therapy and like explore your inner soul enough that you can kind of defeat your own dysphoria, but I don't know who has, and I haven't, and I don't think I know anyone who has. Like, I think dysphoria is just kind of a fact of life, which sucks, but like, you can manage it. But God, I feel like I have a stick in my sweater just scraping me in the shoulder. Wait. Brazilian politics has been so eventful that it's actually taken coronavirus away from the headlines. I need to look that up. I know that Bolsonaro fired like the main health advisor guy in the middle of the crisis, which sounds interesting. Sweden and Finland have huge numbers of folks whose parents fled Chile back in the day. Yeah, it's a common thing. My experience comes and goes. Yeah, it does. Some days are good, some days are bad. Like, it really varies. Some days you might feel great, and then you go and take a shower, and then it's like, oh no, I'm actually really dysphoric today. But you never know. I think it reduces over time. Like, I think time heals all wounds, and the more you manage it, the more you can kind of deal with it, the more you can kind of sort it out, if that makes sense. Like, it's not crushing me in the same way that it used to. It still does sometimes, but like, it's not like this overwhelming like malaise at gendered appearance, but you know, it's not around. I'm in a good mood today. And of course I'm in a good mood today, because today is streaming day. Cake. Can you get drunk from eating alcoholic cake? I hope not. Hello, hello. What's a Chapo segment about some ultra neolib consultant or whatever? Yeah, it was probably Friedman. Rich people in Brazil protested against quarantine close to poor neighborhoods. So poor people were able to throw eggs at their cars. Egg the rich. We stand. I have a lot of friends who live like in real rich neighborhoods. Like various cities across Sweden. And I'm always like mind struck whenever I go visit. People say if you cook it, it cooks the alcohol off, but it's really some bad thing. Alcohol cooked during baking. Yeah, I don't know how much cooking really does. Removes all alcohol. We're getting a bit mixed answers. Okay, because I mean, if I take a tub of wine and put it in the oven for half an hour, it's not gonna make it like non-alcoholic wine, right? It's not gonna be. It's a myth. Oh my god, I don't know. I just dislike the taste of alcohol. I used to. I've gotten around on it. In cake, I can get it, but it's also very chocolatey. I think it's mostly chocolate. I actually talked about like a friend who visited at arm's length. I didn't have a party. Don't worry, I didn't have a birthday party. I had one friend who visited. After vigorously washing her hands, and she's also the one who brought me this cake, and we debated for a long time if this was like just very dark cocoa smell or if it was actual alcohol. We couldn't figure it out. I think it's alcohol, but it just meant to be like a lot of cocoa. I can get behind taking the rich. Yeah, it's true. We shouldn't waste food. Eggshell the rich. Eat the egg. Heat decreases alcohol level very quickly, but getting it to completely zero takes like hours. But it goes from like very close to zero, like 10 minutes. Oh, okay. Cooking doesn't remove the weed. I'm not having an edible on stream, don't worry. I hope not. I hope my friend hasn't like given me an edible, because I'm eating a lot of this cake. If this is an edible, I'm fucked. I hope not. I don't think so. It's a professional cake from like a place, from like a brand. Don't worry. Oh, I love apple cider. Apple cider is great. Hang on. So I can't show the label. Fuck. Okay. What have you been up to this weekend? Has something happened? I've been kind of busy this weekend. Trying my best to stay away from work. Because I try to keep weekends off. Like I try to not work weekends. Even now that I'm like back, which I am back, but like I'm back and I have a lot of work to like catch up. But I don't want to like work weekends too much. And I hope that composterers. Yeah, that's better. Compost for organic garden. But I hope people had a very nice time though. I like how I said like I try not to work on weekends, and yet here I am doing a stream. I mean, I get like I enjoy this, but this is technically work. Everything's work when you think about it. I kind of want someone to gift that eventually. Just everything's work when you think about it, and then I'm just condensing like decades of like productivity and morality and philosophy into just one. Everything's work when we think about it. Explain. No. That's what philosophers are for. And as I said on Twitter, we have progressed past the need for philosophy. Oh man, this cake is great. This is a really good cake. Capitalist realism that everything's work. Yeah, unfortunately. We're looking for a new bed yesterday with a mother. Nice. I hope we get a good bed. When I moved to this place, I got a new bed. Best thing I ever did in my entire life. Because I used to sleep on like this really old, really small, creaky bed. Like it creaked like an incredible amount. Like I would sit down and it would just like. And if you look at like really old streams that I did like way before I moved here, I sometimes did streams sitting on that bed, and it's the worst. Like I had to like not move so it wouldn't fuck with the stream too much. Like nah, new bed, no creaking, modern, great. We stand. Bigger, comfier. It's wonderful. It's great. I was gonna like move the camera, but I can't really like. I don't want to show off how dirty my room is. One day I'll make like an apartment tour thing. I still need to get on those vlogs. Ugh. Sorry about that. In my defense, I got a new camera and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do vlogs now, and then I got promptly like sick. But I'm bake now, so I'm bake. I'm bake. No, I'm back. We talked about baking cake too long. Panoptic labor. For the longest time, I thought the panopticon was like a thing from like Lord of the Rings, like the Palantir. I thought that was the panopticon, so I thought that was like what the panopticon meant, and I like heard it in memes and shit, and then I found out like it's a prison thing. Apparently, it's a fucking prison thing. Everything's a prison when you think about it. I'm very funny. Cake destroys me, Mulder. Logic and reason. Destroys the logic and reason with cake. When Mia said small bed, I could picture her sleeping with her feet and lower legs poking. I did that for 2 years. It's not great. Well, 1.5 years. But I'm free now. Didn't Do Not Eat have some episodes about the Panopticon? What's that some other? Very possible. I need to watch more Do Not Eat stuff. If you like infrastructure, if you care about trains, city design, stuff like that, Do Not Eat is very good content for that. It's a prison layout that allows all the inmates to be watched by a single guard. Yeah. Like Twitter, a prison in which you're always being watched, but you're not sure if you are or not. It's like being a content creator. It's like being a YouTuber. You're always being watched, but you never know if you are or not. About the Panopticon from like things like discussion. You had one about the Panopticon? I haven't seen that one. I'll have to look that up. I was joking deadpan to an architect that our new open office has great panopticon-like qualities. He took it as a compliment. I only ever heard it when I watched Awful Squad, which was a thing that Polygon did, the game site, where they would play Player Unknown's Battleground, and I remember Griffin McElroy like getting, I think, a 15 times scope and putting it on his gun, and he would say like, I'm hooked up to the fucking panopticon right now. And so I thought it was like, oh, it's a thing that you can see everywhere, and I have no idea if Griffin like referred to the prison thing, which is weird, which is, I guess it works, or if he was just saying because it looks like a word that's just, I don't know. Two towers are gonna keep watch on every prisoner in North. Like, I miss Awful Squad so much. Me too. It's good shit. I miss a lot of Polygon content. I mean, it's changed over time, which is it's fine. Like Brian David Gilbert does good shit. Still need to show Ollie what who Brian David Gilbert is, which I'm amazed you don't know. And I have to talk, it's good, but it's not the same. I mean, it's more popular now, I think. So they're definitely like hitting a new generation. But, you know, sometimes you just want to watch a guy vor an amiibo, you know? In the prison context, I've been seeing everywhere. Yeah, so I mean, I guess that works, but like, prison context? How many people know about the Panopticon? I didn't until I heard Griffin McElroy talk about it. Some chips. I have so much candy. I have so many snacks from my birthday. Because I decided to treat myself and I'm just overflowing in snacks. I have some final shoots that I have to do tomorrow for the video, and it's gonna go like by a breeze because I'll just be able to like hang out and get like really happy eating like some leftover sushi that I have, which is like 2 days old now, so I probably shouldn't eat that, but still. I got 2 donuts, 2 bags of chips, some cake, 2 soda things. I'm gonna fall apart. There we go. I figured out how to operate the lamp. That's a lot more powerful. Let's go. Red, no. Let's stay with purple. Let's take a stronger purple. Yeah. We have the museum in The Hague called Panorama Mazdag. Circular chamber with a painting, with one painting around it. A painting around it. It's quite neat. Oh, I'll have to see that. Reading Millennium. Millennium is a great trilogy, and I suggest everyone read it. Not super sure what the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is the it's like the series name or like the first book name. I don't. Millennium Trilogy. Yeah, so that's a trilogy. And the first book is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. The Swedish name title of which is Men Who Hate Women, and it's a great book. It's really good. Like, it's a good crime show thing. It's a good like exploration of like misogyny. It's just good. There's a movie about it with Daniel Craig. Original Swedish movies. Yeah, not the American. Yeah, the American one is the one with Daniel Craig. But the Swedish movies are all the entire trilogy, whereas the American movie is just the first one. But the differences between the Swedish movie and American movie are like non-existent. It's like casting. Like every scene, bit for bit, is like almost identical and like similarly shot and everything. It's like Americans just didn't want subtitles, but still wanted the movie. So they had Daniel Craig come to my town actually, where I am, and shot it here. But before I lived here, so it doesn't count. Utilitarian came up with the Panopticon. It came out as a utopian thing. That's what I remember. It's like the maximum amount of efficiency per guard, per prisoner. Something like that. I should rewatch the movies. They're pretty good. And the new generation only got into BG. Usually don't like the stuff everyone talks about so much. BDG is fun. Not really my flavor, I think, of like absurdist comedy. But I like it. The Ides of spring will surely bring the birds and bees cavorting. But since I am a gentleman, I'd much rather be jorting. It's very funny. All I can think about is John Mulaney's SNL airport sushi sketch. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to look that up later. I'm curious. Panopticon idea was directly inspired by and also applied to factory workers by Bentham. Oh, interesting. It's in Parasite. How it's in Parasite? I thought Parasite were very, very good. I think that... yeah, it's very, very good. It's very, very good is the thing. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I think it's really fun to see like super rich celebrities being like, oh, I love Parasite, it's so good. I was like, but you are the parasite. We're all parasites if we think about it. Listen, I can break down fucking anything into this. Like, it's so easy to do political philosophy. I'm considering starting a blog where I review anything, and it will just be like Parasite. Everyone's a parasite if you think about it. And 10 out of 10. Prisons. Everything is a prison when you think about it. Hey. Is the Millennium sequel written by some other dude after the original author died worth reading? No. And the reason no is because the original author who wrote the original trilogy made a bunch of money doing that, but he wasn't married to his girlfriend, and I don't think he had a will. But like everyone understood, like he wanted to leave like a lot of that to her, as she was the one who was basically his wife. And when he died, she got nothing because she was like the girlfriend, and Swedish law doesn't really like translate much in that way. I don't think. Yeah, so like a lot of it just went to I think his brother, or something, or like his brother or his like uncle or something like that, who basically took it all and wouldn't give anything to her, and then just kept on writing the book because the rights of the book also fell to like the brother or whatever it was. And it just sucks. It sucks so bad because it's like the rights should have gone to her because it's like their relationship, and because she also like helped a lot with like building the book and the characters and like making the thing, but she wasn't a co-author or a co-owner of the thing because they were like, well, you know, they're together. They didn't really think about that, and she kind of gets stiff on the inheritance, and because of that, I have like a personal vendetta against every single future thing. I left everything to the Communist Party. Brother and father took it all. Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't fully know the details. It was a while ago since like I wasn't into this drama. But all I know is that the people who wrote the future books are people that I don't want to support, and I don't remember all the details. But I don't know. Girlfriend got nothing, and I feel like that's shitty. So, praise be the Onion Lord. Watch Shrek 1, 2, and 3. Wait, we haven't had a I had a proper Mia rant in months. Can we get one to rant on? I guess about the Millennium trilogy. Shrek 1, 2, and 4 are all great. They're all great, really. Right, we can reshoot a whole movie. We're all comparisons to other things when you think about it. It's true. I'm going back to school in fall and majoring in history. Yes! Yes! leftist YouTube has a tendency for like years now to make people study philosophy or like political science, which is great and respectable and whatever. But we need history. Like me and like three other leftist historians on YouTube has like been trying to get people to do it. And I'm pro history majors. You know, with the caveats of like it's hard to get a job in the real world. But like if it's something that you want to do and something that you feel that you can support yourself doing, then yeah, you know. Can't believe those poor people leashed off that nice rich family. Was married because they didn't want to register their home address due to security reasons. Oh, yeah, I can see that. I remember them being like threatened by Nazis a lot. Because one of a plot point in the first book is like it's not a plot point, but it's like a minor point that like Nazis suck ass, which they do. Nazis didn't like that. Turns out, damn you capitalism, foil again. Government has like a complete book on our laptop but doesn't get to publish due to inheritance policy. See, you know this more than I do, and I'm so happy about it. And this is what I'm saying. Like it feels so disrespectful to the memory of the guy who wrote the first ones that just kind of ruins everything. I also just feel like it's weird to. I feel like it's weird for a family member to keep writing the books of their family member when they die. Like someone makes like a great work of art, whatever it is, and then then they die, and then the family members like keep writing sequel books, and I don't get that because I don't know, artistic talent or style even doesn't translate over genes. Or over anyone. Like I don't think that anyone can like perfectly copy the style or aesthetic or intent of the original book. So I feel like, and I like Dune books. I really like all the Dune books. Really, they're all weird and horny, which is my brand, and I like it. But I feel like it's so weird when Frank Herbert dies and like the guy kept writing them. It's fine. I like it. It's okay. Christopher Tolkien, yeah, like I think it's weird. I think it's a little bit weird. It just feels like they're trying to get money. It's one thing if they like publish unpublished works and then do their own shit. That's fine. But I just feel like it would be like if I had a kid, then I died, and my kid would keep making Mia Mulder videos. It's like no, you can make your own, and they could be great, but like. And you could even like profit by like being connected by the name, because you could do that. Like if you're Tolkien's like son, you can write whatever you want because you have name recognition and stuff, which might not help all the way. You still need to write a good book, but you can still do it. But if you just publish more Lord of the Rings, like meh, I don't know. Listen, I have opinions on authorship. I feel it's weird to like posthumously steal authorship from someone else because you inherit the rights. The book that Girlfriend has is by Stieg Larsson himself. Yeah, that's all. That's what I mean, kind of. When my anger there is towards like the brother and father who keeps writing books instead, so we can't publish the one that actually came out. Exploitation by big money. Yeah, it sucks. Capitalism is a fuck. But like, okay, if you want to read them, that's fine. Like no one's gonna judge it. They're probably fine books. It's probably great. I personally don't do that. But like, I don't know. You can also like just download an audiobook very legally, but and you know, you still get the content, you still get the stories, which is the good part. And stories should belong to everyone, really, without giving them money, which is also a way. Or you can just buy a book, and that's fine. Or go to a library, and you borrow a book. Support your local library. Unconnected. And you still get the story. Like, enjoy the story. The drama can be left outside. Brian Herbert novels are mediocre at best. Yeah, I don't think they're as well written, unfortunately. And it kind of sucks to say that, right? Because it feels mean to criticize someone's books. But at the same time, like, I don't read Dune fan fiction either. But that's basically what that is, because he's not the original author. But if Frank had published those books under his own name, I would still say that it's probably not his best work. I don't know. I'm the only one who thought the lot of movies were quite boring, but the movies were great. I haven't read the books. I read Narnia growing up. The Narnia books. I did not read The Lord of the Rings. I don't know why. They're great. Probably. I don't know. I haven't read them. (2120) we're electing Mia Mulders. Like the Vatican elects the Pope. The clone like more Mia vids. Oh no. 2160 there are 3 simultaneous Mia Mulders. Oh no, fuck. It's gonna be Mia Mulders and anti-Mia Mulders. It will be the war of the three Mulders. Orphan Mulcher. I haven't actually seen all of Orphan Black. I've seen some of it, and it's quite good, but I haven't seen all of it. I kind of lost track. I like Lying Jesus. Narnia kind of tends to fall apart in later books. Yeah. I still think it's like an interesting universe, if nothing else. I'm gonna double check a thing. An anonymous person on Curious Cat has asked me to dab, so I will get a double one for your trouble. This isn't Twitch, but still works. His Dark Materials. I haven't read that, but it seems great. The show, I actually like the show, but that's just because I like steampunk aesthetics. I love steampunk aesthetics, it's so good. I don't know why, I just like everything with steampunk aesthetic. I played so much Frostpunk. Which I guess is Frostpunk and not really steampunk, but it is steampunk, it's just cold. God, I wish Frostpunk had mod support. When Margaret Atwood was asked whether she would make The Handmaid's Tale so dystopic after so many years, she straight up answered, they would be a lot darker. Yeah, I can imagine. I've been when I got sick, I binge watched almost all of The Handmaid's Tale. Haven't finished it though, but I've done it. Sounds good, Sami, yeah. Stab was quite well rehearsed, almost too well rehearsed. Well, I dab a lot. I started dabbing the second it became unpopular. Because that's how I'd roll. If it's popular to dab, I refuse to do it. But the second it's old. I'm like a hipster from 2008. This cake is so good. It's so delicious and moist. Gamers! It's meant to me. I've been stressed. I don't know what's with me. Robin Hobb's Assassin series? Oh, I have to try that. Then again, very few fantasy novels can reach the height of by one D&D character that fought off a shadow demon with a flamethrower croissant. So, I don't have super great memories of my some D&D things because it's been ages since I played D&D. But I have a great memory of because I was DMing once, and I have a great memory of my three characters like laboriously solving a murder mystery, but like talking to many different people, also trying to like secure, but not trying to offend the nobles who could help them with like a more overarching arc thing. So they were trying to like not offend nobles, and they might have to like lie to get what they need for their overarching plot line and everything, but and I remember that they solved the thing. It turns out that the queen's daughter did it. Killed the king, and they solved it. And me in my folly was like, okay, well they're gonna capture her, present them to like the noble council that will then like, I assume like take power or something, or like imprison her and take power for themselves instead of the queen regent. The princess like attempts to like run like on the outskirts of like the castle wall. So I think that okay, well they're just gonna grab her like through the window and drag her in and arrest her. That's not what happens. What happens is that one of my players, a stocky dwarf, jumps at her, who's like standing in the window at this point, jumps at her, which means that they just fall right through the window. I do athletics and dexterity checks for both of them to see how they land, and the princess rolls a critical fail while the dwarf rolls a nat 20. And the only way I think that this can turn out is that obviously the princess lands and then the dwarf lands on her on the outside like courtyard. And that happens, killing the princess instantly, obviously. And they're forced to flee the kingdom because they couldn't arrest, because they couldn't explain to the nobles what they've done, because the nobles just think that they just assassinated the princess. So they made all the enemies, killed the murderer. So I guess they solved the mystery. But they fucked up so bad. And there were like, I'm simplifying, but there were like several checks that I had to make sure that she wouldn't die. And like several checks to make sure that they wouldn't fall out the window, but they kept like failing every roll and like making the amazing decisions that they made. Starting out with this dwarf jumping out of the window, like tackling the princess out the window. It's amazing. Nothing can top that. D&D is so good. Did you read any by Ian Banks? No, I haven't had. I mean, I guess I had time now that I was sick, but I haven't. I have so many things on my reading list, and I never have time. When I sort out like a better work schedule, I'm gonna do that. I really want to read Ian Banks. I think I own some Ian Banks even. Hang on. If I do, it's not in the bookshelf. It's probably in storage. I haven't unpacked everything from my move yet. It took like a month for me to pack up everything essential that I need in the apartment. And then it turns out that I just have more things that are chucked into storage because it took a month to unpack the critical things, and then I got sick for a month, and now here we are. Me need to watch Killing Eve. I saw most of Killing Eve. And controversial opinion, I didn't like it that much. I think it was well made, well acted, very gay, which we stand. But I just never got into it. Like I never got hooked. Talking about sitting here looking at my favorite novella from the early 19th century. Hell yes. I mean, my favorite piece of writing is a medical textbook from the 1890s. So like, I getcha. Yo, Mia, good to see you. Good to see you. D&D is best when it's off the rails. Yeah. You hate me now? Oh no. Oh no. I fucked up. Like, it's very good. Like, I can see why it won a bunch of awards, and I can see why people like it. I just didn't get into it. The only piece of media that I'm looking forward to new is Dune. You seen Fleabag? Yes. Oh my god, Fleabag. Fleabag is so good. Season 1, the best. Season 2, still pretty good. Oh my god, it's so good. I really, really like it. It's very, very good. What about science fiction written like late 18th century literature? Ooh, interesting. Hi, Mia. Hi. Is it like gaming for boomers? Frankenstein. Frankenstein's very good. I remember reading it in high school and being very into it. Although it seems like everyone read a different version of it. Because everyone remembers details that I do not remember at all. So I feel like I need to like read like the original Frankenstein. Because I feel like a lot of people are... It's old millennial. Kisha story from history. Americans wouldn't know about my country. Okay. I'm gonna see if I don't remember his name, but I'm gonna see if I can find him. What's the king's name? Yes. Let's see if I can make this work. Okay, so in 1771, I vaguely know the story off my head. I didn't study Swedish history, which sucks because Swedish history is interesting. Whatever. So in 1771, the Swedish king, Adolf Fredrik, had a big party, big ball in a castle called Ulriksdal, and as nobles do, as you know, nobility tend to do, they partied hard, like really hard. Let's see. I'm just gonna Google more about this guy, Adolf Fredrik. Listen, I'm dummy. Okay, he partied hard, got super drunk. The queen, super drunk. The next day, the queen is so hungover, can't join the king for like brunch or like the first meal of the day. So the king eats alone. And he eats so much. Like he started with oysters and he started with like other food because he's like really got like the hungover munchies. And if you ever had like a lot of alcohol, then you guess it. You just want to have food or gravy in my case. And he eats and eats so much. And the last thing he eats is like a Swedish dessert called a semla, which is like a hamburger filled with cream and no meat. And it turns out that he becomes like asphyxiated and he has difficulty breathing, and like he's carried off to his bedchamber and he dies. This becomes like instantly, it becomes like he ate himself to death on a dessert. Like he had a dessert and he died because he ate so much. I mean, he was probably poisoned. Like, if we're gonna be honest here, he was almost assuredly poisoned. Let's see what happened. I'm gonna Google this guy. He was very liked by a lot of people. Like, so it's like weird that he got assassinated. And his son, after he died, that same, like in the same thing, he seized power in a military coup d'état because Sweden had like kind of a constitutional monarchy at the time, but then his son took over and it was like, no, absolute rule. So he poisoned a dessert, like a dessert, like a sweet hamburger, to kill his dad. I mean, we don't know, but like probably, to institute absolute monarchical rule 4 years before America like signs the Declaration of Independence. I think it's interesting. What else is a good Swedish history thing? I'm curious now. Let's see if I can find something. Literally everything I can find is like jokes. That's not, no, I want like fun trivia. Oh, of course, I'm a dummy. During the height of the Swedish Empire, Sweden really wanted to like maintain control of the Baltic Sea, which is the ocean on modern Sweden's eastern coast. But at the height of the empire, Sweden controlled like Finland, Estonia, modern day St. Petersburg, parts of Lithuania, parts of Germany, like big blob in the north, like, and also significant control of the Baltic Sea, and we wanted to like significantly keep that control. So what happened is the Swedish Empire hired in like the best engineers of Europe, a lot of them Dutch, and basically wanted to create a new super ship, kind of, that would be like the flagship of the Swedish Imperial Navy, right? And this ship would be bigger than any other ship before it. It would have more guns. It would be a lot more intimidating, and it would just lead the Swedish fleets into battle, like against the Polish, Lithuanian Commonwealth and Prussia and shit, and Denmark probably most likely. It takes years and years to build, and they finish it, and they sail it out, and it's magnificent. It's huge. It is. It's like incredible. So. They and people like in Stockholm, they see it. They can see it like in the distance. It's beautiful. It's sailing in through the Stockholm harbor. Like out of Stockholm, out of the dry dock, and just flies out. The equivalent today would like be an aircraft carrier, kind of like it's the most like it's the biggest ship of the fleet. It's extremely high technology for the time. Like an aircraft carrier. Sails out and it sinks. It encounters a small breeze and tips over, and then it sinks. This is the equivalent of like of America like launching its like brand new hyper modern aircraft carrier. And then within literally hours of its like launching into water, it just sinks and it's down the sea. It's gone, cannons and all. And they had invited like diplomats and dignitaries and nobles from other people, and turns out it's just this huge embarrassment for the Swedish Navy. And so the Swedish Empire has this like massive humiliation of like they've invested so much time, money, and energy and technology into making this amazing thing and just gone. Bye, Ollie. Have a good bath. Hashtag radicalized Karens. House of Leaves, I haven't. I should. Adam Roberts has a couple of things like that. Did they party as hard as Stalin? No idea. I don't know much about Stalin actually. This is a story where he dies so much. He eats so much semla that he dies. Yeah. Back in those days, it wasn't actually have cream in it, but just soaked in warm milk. Oh god. Genuine life. Yeah, because he was a monarch in a time of when Sweden didn't have absolute rule, where like a lot of other countries had rule, which means that like other nobility and people in the city and like people who were rich, they had more power, which was was nice. And the king didn't challenge that much. He didn't like demand to be an absolute ruler. He was kind of okay with sharing his power, so people like that. People like it when they let you have a little bit of power. The only Swedish history I know is usually early modern stuff or World War II. Yeah, like it's kind of the same here. Like I don't actually know that much about Swedish history, if I'm honest. Vasa. I have an old map of northeast Germany that has a tiny bit of Swedish Pomerania marked out. Yeah. Apparently, I've learned people who live there have like just ever so slightly different culture than the rest of Germany. Just slightly. And apparently there's like songs that says like things were better under the 3 crowns or some shit like that. Because apparently Sweden was kind of nice to them, but I don't know if that's true. I don't know. We gave it to Prussia in exchange for all of Norway, so that's good. We gave parts of Germany to Prussia so that Prussia could force Denmark to give us all of Norway, which we took. I went to the museum where they have that ship. Yeah. So the benefit of this is like they found it, I think like in the 80s, they found that big ship Vasa. And it was like mostly intact. So they just dredged all of it up and they put it in a museum. It's actually like pretty good. Like and now it's kind of more famous again. We're aware of how silly it is. We're kind of proud of it now. They weren't back then. Reminds me of this Santissima Trinidad, which was the largest wooden ship in the world, and its first battle was Trafalgar. So it was destroyed in its first battle. In just the early modern F-35. Oh shit. The F-30 Vasa. Hi, Mia. Hi. Mary Rose, which sank in the sun on a maiden voyage with the king watching. Like, it's not actually that uncommon for ships to sink on their maiden voyage. It's not actually statistically that uncommon. Because if a ship is ever going to sink, it's gonna be its maiden voyage, because that's when, like, if something's wrong, it's gonna be shown like instantly. And if it doesn't sink, then it might sink whenever, right? But there's a pretty high chance of ships sinking on the maiden voyage. The difference between the Vasa is like, 1, it was like the flagship, and 2, we found it, and we found it like whole. So that became like, oh my god, we found it, we found that ship, and that was kind of become a point of national pride, kind of. Do you know much about Desiree Clary? Nothing at all. No idea who she is. I'm gonna go for like 10 minutes or something like that more. I don't want to head too late, and I want to I need to make tea and shit because I have a raging headache and I need to take care of that. I recall the Dutch shipbuilder started project got fired halfway through because he tried to say the sign of the parameters wouldn't work. Turns out it didn't. Yeah, it turns out it was right. The American Civil War was actually pretty easy for women to pose as men, and there was a 17-year-old white getting caught. She went through 17 or 18 troops because she kept getting caught. Like she kept killing people? What? No! She changed and became new people. That's cool. The Mary Rose was recently brought up and it's on display in Portsmouth, I think. It has to be kept in a strange steamy hangar. Yeah, I would guess that they would have like some contact with the Vasa Museum too, because they have the same thing. Big steamy museum. A lot of climate control, so it doesn't like rot. Not sure if it was a fair deal. Well, like a city for a country? I don't know. Sounds pretty good deal. Who killed Olof Palme? So Olof Palme was a Swedish prime minister, and he's the only Swedish prime minister who has been assassinated, and no one knows who did it. I think the CIA killed Olof Palme because he criticized. He very much valued Swedish neutrality. He supported the Viet Cong. Sweden. So did you know that Sweden supported the Viet Cong in Vietnam? Now you do. The reason he supported the Viet Cong is because he argued that the American war in Vietnam was against the will of the people there, and we shouldn't intervene in it at all. And like propping up the regime was unethical, and therefore it was like a war of imperialism, which he didn't like. So he and so in order to like balance the scales, he gave medical assistance and he gave medical assistance to the Viet Cong and offered American draft dodgers asylum in Sweden, so they could come here for asylum. Because it wasn't because he supported the Viet Cong, it was because he was like anti-American intervention, so he wanted to like kind of balance the scales to kind of make it actually be neutral, which is interesting. And he kept arguing like against American imperialism and stuff like that. And like 2 weeks or something like that after like a major announcement thing, he got assassinated. I mean, my theory is that the CIA killed him to shut them up, because it's kind of weird to have like a Swedish prime minister, like a Western country but not NATO aligned, criticizing America, like the leader, ostensibly the leader of NATO. Doesn't look good internationally, so I can see why they did it. Also, like a big critic of like, but you know, it's important to say that he was also like a very big critic of like both left-wing and right-wing forms of imperialism throughout the world. Like he was very much into this, like, hey, people should be able to decide for themselves how they feel. Maybe it's not fair to like drag in innocent people into the Cold War if they don't want to. Like maybe people should just be allowed to chill. So a lot of like American, the asylum thing is pretty cool. Yeah, so if you got caught, or like if you didn't want to join, if you got drafted basically and you didn't want to fight in Vietnam, you could come to Sweden and you would get political asylum. It's very interesting. My conspiracy theory is that it was the CIA. And there was a big conspiracy theory in Sweden too, that the CIA had like cells here. It was a thing for years that it was a conspiracy theory, and no one believed it. And then after the end of the Cold War, it turns out like no, the CIA did have cells here. In the eventuality that the Soviet Union would like launch a massive invasion into Western Europe, the CIA had cells here ostensibly only to like train resistance troops and like help Swedish people fight back like as partisans or something. Like that's all that, and like yeah, I'm sure that's all they did. Bullshit. And that came out like very like in 2010 or something like that, like fairly recently. Even some Swedish politicians had like been implicated like by supporting them and like actually giving like the CIA documents that they weren't supposed to have, and nothing happened by it. Like it was like a story for like a week and then it was just gone. Whereas Take Two on Swedish giant Kronan sank during her third battle because the admiral in charge didn't know how sailing worked. Oh god. My opinions on how Sweden interacts with Sami. I remember there was a case regarding herding reindeer that the Sami won a few months ago. That's true. The Sami has won exclusive rights to do reindeer herding in certain areas of Sweden, which is a win for them. Sweden historically has acted very, very awful against the Sami. And the Sami are native people in the north of Scandinavia, like at the top of it. And I sometimes see people being like claiming that the Sami extends like through all of Scandinavia and that all Scandinavian people are like settlers. It's not true. Like the Sami have historically been in the north, and there have been like other tribes down south. It just that the tribes down south decided to conquer and subjugate the people up north, which isn't great. So Swedish colonial history talks about like, we talk about the colony in Saint Thomas, but we also talk about like how the Swedish industrial complex like really started like really encroach on Sami territory up north for natural resources like ore and lumber and stuff like that, especially ore. The north is rich in ore, and it kind of sucks that Sweden kind of gave a lot of Sami people the short end of the stick. They even have they have their own parliament, but they're not autonomous and they don't have any power. And Sweden hasn't ratified the UN resolution on the rights of like native peoples because it would like force Sweden to also give Sami areas a bit of autonomy, and they don't do that. There's no autonomous zones in this unitary country. Sami territory does extend pretty far south. It does, yeah, pretty far south. But like some people have it like down to Gothenburg, which is a bit much. By the way, but I should say though, Sami people don't claim this. It's usually like people who have maybe very powerful ideas about settler nations, and you can have pretty high takes on settler nations. Settler nations are in general like pretty shitty, but I feel like a lot of the time people will claim all sorts of shit in order to like justify it. It's weird. Like I think the same person also like gave Finland about the shit for like being a settler nation, where like Finland has only like been independent like not that much of history. It's usually either been us, the Swedes, or the Russians, who have been like in sort of imperial control over that land. So like we can't really blame the Finns for anything historically. Although now, ever since independence, Finland has had some things with their Sami population, and they can get shit for that. That is something that they can get shit for. But like, it's weird for people to, I don't know. I have takes. What's the sentiment about Romani around there? I mean, Europe has not had a great relationship. It's not treated the Romani people very well. Sweden did a lot of eugenics from like 1890 to like 1975, which isn't great. Sweden had forced sterilizations up to 1975, which is in fact a form of genocide, which Sweden doesn't talk a lot about. God, Sweden sucks. With the many American draft daughters that chose to go to Sweden? Some. I don't know how many though. I don't have any statistics on that. Same with KGB probably. Oh, the KGB definitely had cells here too. Like 100%. People keep like finding like weird, like they go into student apartments, like attics that have like no one's been in for like decades, because like they keep getting boarded up when like they renovate and then they never open them up again. They keep finding like Russian like Soviet pins everywhere that like dates back to like the 60s. Like they definitely hung out here too. The Swedish Communist Party was very much like loyal to Moscow at the time, so it wouldn't surprise me at all. A lot of iron ore in Nazi Germany came from javelin ore in Sweden. It's true. A lot of iron ore. Thank God we didn't have oil. If we had that, then God knows what would happen. Sweden during the World War is interesting. Some people call the Swedish government like collaborators for selling iron ore to Germany, while other people call the Swedish government heroes for like accepting like Jewish refugees and like hosting Allied spies and resistance cells in like the northern forest for Norway. Which is so you know, it's a mixed bag. Usually the historical agreement about Swedish neutrality is like, what the fuck did people expect the Swedish government to do? That's kind of like where it's at. Like, we couldn't really go to war against Germany, but at the same time we couldn't really like we didn't want to join the Axis, obviously. So like this is the kind of the best the Swedish government could do considering the circumstances. But at the same time did also profit from doing so, which isn't to like excuse that, but like very much a big reason why the Swedish like industry became kind of rich again, because Sweden had been very poor. A big part of why Sweden was very rich after the war is because like had made money during the war by selling a lot of steel to Germany, but also, and that's like the big part. But also that Swedish industry wasn't bombed during the war compared to like the rest of Europe. And people focus a lot on the second part. They should really focus more on the first part too. Because people give the Swiss shit all the time for Nazi gold. We had our fair amount of Nazi gold too. But at the same time, you know, it's history has nuance. What am I talking about? What is this stream? You know about stuff. I heard there's some stuff about assimilation of Karelian people in Finland. Ooh. What nation, in your opinion, is the most progressive? Oh, that's a good question. It really depends on what kind of areas. I think the Mulder Empire, which is an empire that doesn't exist yet, is probably the most progressive. I have a territorial claim. It's all of Earth and the Moon, and I am its empress. I think that's the most progressive, because no one recognizes my claim to anything. It means that I can't actually execute on any of the progressive things that I can. So in theory, I am perfect. Brazil is so into colonization that a whole new national capital was built in the 1960s, more effectively colonized the interior. Oof. I think Swedish entering World Tour is probably the best option. There's a lot, like there's takes from both sides. As you know, there's a lot of Swedish volunteers who went to Finland to fight, and a lot of Swedish volunteers went to Germany to fight for the SS. So it's a bit of a... Sweden took in the Danish Jews in one swoop. Okay, listen, good story, fun story about Denmark, which is a tale of heroism. I usually shit it on the Danes, but this is a good tale. So. The Danish military couldn't stand against the Wehrmacht during the Second World War. Could not do it. The German military was better equipped and just more of them. And the Danish knew it. But what they did was they defended the line as long as they could, while just like assembling all of like as much of their Jewish population as much as they could and just yeeting them to Sweden like as quick as possible. But just holding the line as long as possible, so that they could evacuate as many people as possible. And when they did evacuate, then when they like had managed to yeet as many refugees into Sweden as they could, just begging Sweden, just take him, it's fine, we're getting invaded, just take him. The second when they were done, they were just like, we surrender, it's done, whatever, just do whatever you want. And the military surrendered, which was, understandable because people don't want to die. But the royal family hadn't been able to evacuate, so the king was stuck in Copenhagen. But they negotiated with the Nazi occupiers and being like, okay, well, you need us for strategic reasons. You don't need to like oppress us that much. Be cool and we'll be cool. Like don't fuck up too much. Like the king can't go out and like talk against the Nazis, but like they're not gonna kill the king either, like, because that would just make the Danish people really upset and that would just make more trouble for the Nazis. But what the king could do is he demanded to like go out, like leave his castle, and they kind of agreed to it for some reason, and he just kept like walking around, like riding his horse in the middle of Copenhagen, talking to like normal Danish people and like kind of being like, hey, these Nazis suck ass, huh? Yeah, we're gonna take back Denmark soon. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, we're gonna take it back. Like one day soon. Like I can't do much right now, but I'm working on it. It's fine. And they can't do shit because he's the king. And they can't kill the king because it would one spark international outrage, but it would also like cause all of Denmark to become way more troublesome. So they just had to deal with it. And it's just this massive middle finger into the face of the SS. And it's great. Anyway, that's my story. What about the ocean? The ocean's pretty good. Should Scania be independent or should we just sink the whole... Does this racist tell the whole we call Northern Europe? I mean, Scania has been part of Sweden for a while now. I think... Just keep it. They are very racist down there, though. So, I don't know. Most of Scania is actually fine. It's just some rural villages that are extremely racist. Malmö, though. Love Malmö. Great city. I really like Malmö. It's a good city. Malta is pretty progressive, it's true. Impressive that Denmark did that so quickly, though, considering that the invasion lasted 6 hours. Most Danish were evacuated in 1942 and the Nazis suspended Danish parliament, and a lot of us were smuggled to Sweden from 1940 to 1943. Well, there we know. Well, there we go. Like, I didn't know that. But what I did know was also that, I know that like a lot of refugees were yeeted into Sweden before the surrender anyway, and that, so like something happened there. But I also know that like the Nazis didn't manage to do that much effective work in Denmark, because of like, partly because of the king, but also because of its proximity to Sweden. So like there was a very like shorter escape route. But that's very interesting. I'll have to read more about that. I don't know that much about like war history, if I'm sorry. All I do is like I do sex and gender history. That's like my thing. So I defer to the chat on this one. I don't know. I'm not a war historian or a wartime historian, a refugee historian. I remember the Norwegian media creating the narrative of Malmö as chaos because of too many immigrants. It's not chaos, it's great. I mean, like it's like the Swedish like main entryway to the rest of Europe, so it's the most diverse city in Sweden. But it's great. It's kind of like a small Swedish New York. It's a good place to go to visit in Sweden as a lesbian transgender couple. Ooh. I mean, Stockholm has a lot of good shit. Depending on how much you visit, I think going from Malmö to Gothenburg and then to Stockholm, I think you get to see most of the things. If you take country, if you like stop at like small places and like try to find like tiny cute places, I think that would be good. I think they're called like there's a place called Atlas Obscura, I think it's called, and they have a lot of like highlights of like interesting things that you should go watch. But if you only have like time for big cities and stuff like that, then I definitely suggest Malmö, starting in Malmö, heading Gothenburg. They have a lot of fish culture and like ocean things. It's a big like ocean city. Also has Liseberg, which is very nice, and Stockholm just has like most things. If I'm honest, like Stockholm has like big parks, good art, many museums, a lot of culture, and it's also pretty beautiful. If I do say so myself, but I do live close to Stockholm, so I'm a bit biased. I grew up outside of Gothenburg though, so I think that's kind of the best city, if I'm honest. Okay, I'm gonna finish the chat and then I'm gonna do my spiel and maybe do some like last minute questions if I can, but I do have to go in a little bit to finish up the stream, so I'm just gonna see. Okay. Just read about the siege of Masada, where the Romans built a giant ramp up a mountain to attack the Jewish fortress. Damn! The Romans really had no chill with their sieges. I don't know what happened with the Roman military that just decided to like, fuck it, we can do whatever we want. War back then was wild. And you're talking about general history in this chat because you clearly enjoy it. I love history. There's a reason why I studied history and became an historian, because it's literally my favorite subject. You know, I don't know all of history. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of everything, but I know enough to like get by at most things, and I also know I know my field, which is like the most important part. Like I can write essays and articles about my field, but like you wouldn't ask a cardiologist about like how the intricacies of the brain works, or like the colon. Maybe you would. I don't know. Medical school is weird, but you know what I mean. Me, a death metal fan confirmed. I've been getting more and more into death metal, if I'm honest. Not that much, but a little bit. Christian X was an anti-democratic reactionary that abolished Danish parliament because he wasn't mad he couldn't get all of Schleswig in the 1919 plebiscite, but he dabbed on Hitler, so we like him. I didn't know about that, actually. That's actually kind of funny that he was like, can I get more territory in this I had no part in? I like that. Okay, I'm gonna do my ending spiel. So, what's gonna happen is tomorrow morning in like 12 hours, I'm gonna have a morning AMA thing. That's for patrons for $5 and up. So if you wanna hear me answer more questions, you can do that in the morning. And I'll be tired as hell, but it's gonna be great. I have a video that's gonna come out on the 30th. I don't know specific times yet. Worst case, it might come out the 1st, but I'm 99.9% sure it's gonna come out on the 30th. Pending sponsorship approval, because I do have a sponsor lined up for that video. And after that, I'm hoping that like May and like video for the future, stuff like that, I can maybe be a bit more. I'm gonna try to like make content quicker because I've been sick for so long, and the move took up so much too. So I'm gonna try to like make videos with a bit shorter between distance, so I can, because I want to make 12 videos a year. Yeah. I'm trying to come up with something else that I have to say. I don't think I have much else to say. I'm older now because my birthday was 2 days ago. That's basically what's happened. You know, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to my main channel if you haven't already. And because this is a separate channel, this is me and Mulder Live, and I do sometimes stream, and I do sometimes post like Twitch stream things. And I'm gonna next week, unless I'm super tired, on Tuesday and Thursdays, I am gonna stream on twitch.tv/meandmulder, so you can go there and follow me, I guess. This is a public stream. I don't want to like promote my Patreon, but I guess I should. I feel weird doing it because I haven't made a video in like 2 or 3 months. Next week though, but like, I don't know, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/meandmulder, twitter.com/potatopolitics. I need to get better with these end roll things, but I'm gonna do that. Okay, let's do the finish thing. But man, don't stress yourself. The Rona, if anything, is a good reason not to get things done on time. Oh, for sure. I do want to say this before I leave. I have been extremely thankful for everyone who has been like, who have been telling me to take it easy, to focus on my health, to not stress about it. Because I have had literally dozens, maybe hundreds of people telling me, like, it's fine, don't worry about it, it's all good, like, it's all good. And literally no one at all has stressed me about the video. No one has asked where it is. No one has like bothered me about it. And I feel so secure knowing how safe I am. Because I remember like half a year ago, or like a year ago, especially, if I was like a day or 2 late, I would be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And now I'm like 2 months late, and everyone is just like, it's fine, focus on health, like it happens. And just feels nice. I still want to do it, obviously, just from a professional level, but still. Okay, I'm gonna head out. And I'm gonna have some proper food, because I've had cake. I need to have like actual food. And actual like water and tea. I can't just have soda. And then, tomorrow morning, I'm gonna have this stream. And then immediately afterwards, I'm gonna take this bad boy out to do some more shooting. The final bit that I'm gonna put into the video, and then it's just editing a lot. And then on Thursday, I think we're done. So the younger people with the Rona have been having strokes, and they don't know why. The Rona is scary. It's a lot. People need breaks. Yeah, it's true. I just became a patron. Thank you so much. I appreciate all support, especially now in these Corona times. And I obviously understand if people can't support, or people have to end their patronages. We are in difficult financial times, but I especially appreciate people who can. And I appreciate all of you for watching and subscribing and chatting and being wholesome and nice. But I am going to yeet myself into space and have food. Goodbye. What time is the morning show tomorrow? It's in 9 a.m. Central European summertime at 9 a.m. I don't know what that means for the rest of the world, but it's up there. I'm gonna have a link for that up for patrons in like 3 hours ish, and a link will be up for that. Okay, but I'm gonna go and have a good time, and I hope everyone has a good time.